Episode 4, Unveiling the Blueprint. The tension in the air crackled like electricity as Ethan stood before the board of directors. Investors, workers' union representatives, and environmental activists sat shoulder to shoulder, a testament to the delicate balance Ethan had to maintain. Sweat slicked his palms as he unveiled the company's ambitious Steel for Tomorrow initiative. A result of countless sleepless nights and passionate brainstorming sessions, the plan laid out a roadmap for a greener future. At its core was Professor Sharma's innovative waste reduction technology. This, coupled with upgraded filtration systems, promised significant reductions in pollution. Additionally, Ethan proposed venturing into the burgeoning market for sustainable building materials. The presentation generated a wave of murmurs. Mr. Miller, Brandon's father, harumphed. "This sounds like pie in the sky. Greenhorn, how much will this cost us?" Ethan, anticipating the question, countered with financial projections. Professor Sharma's technology, though initially expensive, promised long-term savings. The potential profits from sustainable building materials were also substantial. Next came the key hurdle, job security. Ethan laid out the retraining programs in detail, highlighting partnerships with the local engineering school. This would equip workers with the skills needed for the new technologies. Mr. Lee, the union representative, remained skeptical. "Words are cheap, son, show us some action." Ethan, seeing an opportunity, announced a pilot program. A select team of engineers would work on implementing Professor Sharma's technology in a specific production line. This would not only test the process, but also offer real-world training for the workers. The room buzzed with a mix of cautious optimism and lingering doubts. Maya, the leader of the environmental activists, finally spoke. "We're willing to give it a chance, but transparency is key. We demand regular progress reports and access to monitor the project." Ethan readily agreed. Building trust was paramount. He knew the success of the entire initiative hinged on open communication and collaboration. Brandon, however, refused to stay silent. He launched into a tirade about lost profits and unrealistic goals. But his words held less weight now, his motives exposed by Ethan's transparency. After a tense debate, the board voted. It was a narrow win, but a win nonetheless. The Steel for Tomorrow initiative was greenlit, with a caveat: periodic reviews to ensure progress and profitability. Ethan stepped out of the boardroom, drained but exhilarated. He had navigated the treacherous waters, securing a fragile peace treaty. Now came the real test, making the plan a reality. As he addressed the gathered workers, a palpable sense of hope filled the air. He knew challenges remained. There would be setbacks, resistance from those clinging to the old ways. But with the blueprint laid out and a united front forming, Ethan felt a surge of confidence. He had a long road ahead, but for the first time, he wasn't alone. He had the backing of investors, the cautious trust of the workers, and the watchful eyes of the environmental activists. Together, they would turn the steel giant towards a sustainable future. One where the company thrived in harmony with the environment, and Ethan finally carved his own path, a path that wasn't defined by his family's wealth, but by his own courage and vision. Episode 5, Trial by Fire. Months flew by in a whirlwind of activity. The pilot program for Professor Sharma's technology became a beehive of activity. Engineers, both seasoned veterans and eager newcomers, worked side by side, sweat beading on their brows as they tested and refined the process. Ethan, the tireless leader, moved between meetings and production lines, his energy infectious. He kept the communication channels open, addressing concerns of both workers and environmental activists. Maya, ever vigilant, led her group on regular monitoring visits, their initial skepticism gradually giving way to cautious hope. However, Brandon, the ever-present thorn in Ethan's side, wasn't about to accept defeat. He fueled whispers of doubt among the workers, painting Ethan's vision as a recipe for disaster. He even leaked confidential reports to a local news outlet, spinning a narrative of environmental regulations strangling the company. The negative press coverage created a wave of panic. The stock market dipped, and investors expressed concern. The board of directors summoned an emergency meeting. Mr. Miller, seizing the opportunity, argued for scrapping the entire green initiative. Ethan stood his ground. He presented data from the pilot program, a significant reduction in waste and a higher quality product. He countered Brandon's leaks with transparency, inviting reporters to tour the production line themselves. The meeting stretched late into the night. Just as Ethan felt doubt creeping in, Professor Sharma arrived with unexpected news. Her team, working late nights fueled by their shared vision, had made a breakthrough. They'd further improved the efficiency of the waste reduction technology, making it even more cost-effective. Professor Sharma's announcement shifted the tide. The board, impressed by the progress and undeniable cost savings, decided to back Ethan, but they issued a final warning. The next progress report would be their final call. Ethan emerged from the meeting, exhausted but triumphant. He still had to win back the trust of the workers and the public, but the momentum was shifting. He addressed the entire workforce the next day, Professor Sharma by his side. He acknowledged the concerns, admitted the missteps, and laid out a clear plan moving forward. He spoke not just as their leader, but as someone who believed in a better future for the company and the environment. His sincerity resonated. The workers, having witnessed the positive progress of the pilot program, started to believe. Even Mr. Lee, the union representative, offered a grudging nod of approval. The fight wasn't over. Brandon continued his sabotage attempts, though his influence was waning. Ethan, however, remained focused. He knew the real test would come with launching the green initiatives on a larger scale. The weeks that followed were a baptism by fire. The learning curve was steep. Unforeseen glitches arose daily. But Ethan, Professor Sharma, and the dedicated team persevered. The camaraderie forged in the crucible of challenges grew stronger. Finally, the day arrived. The upgraded filtration systems roared to life, and the revolutionary waste reduction technology whirred into action. The production line churned out a new batch of steel, cleaner and stronger than ever before. News of the success spread like wildfire. The positive press coverage was overwhelming. The once skeptical investors lauded Ethan's leadership. The environmental activists acknowledged the significant progress. As Ethan stood on the factory floor, amidst the cheers of his team, a sense of accomplishment washed over him. He had not only transformed the company, but he had transformed himself. The once rebellious youth had become a leader, proving that wealth wasn't his destiny, but his potential. Yet, Ethan knew this was just the beginning. There were new markets to explore, new technologies to develop. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of pride, a testament to the power of courage, collaboration, and a shared vision for a sustainable future. Episode 6, Green Steel Goes Global. A year had passed, and Ethan's vision for steel for tomorrow was no longer a dream, but a reality. The company, now rebranded as Evergreen Steel, was a shining example of how sustainability and profitability could coexist. The upgraded filtration systems gleamed, a stark contrast to the smokestacks that once dominated the skyline. The waste reduction technology, further refined by Professor Sharma's team, had become the industry standard, attracting delegations from steel companies worldwide. Ethan, once an outsider, was now a sought-after speaker, traveling the globe to share Evergreen's success story. He spoke at international conferences, inspiring others to embrace sustainable practices. However, success bred new challenges. Brandon, ostracized by the company and the industry, had taken his act online. He launched a smear campaign, accusing Evergreen of greenwashing and exploiting cheap labor overseas. Ethan knew he couldn't ignore it. Transparency remained his core value. He invited independent auditors to visit Evergreen's overseas operations, ensuring fair wages and safe working conditions. He also partnered with international NGOs to develop sustainable steel production practices in developing countries. Meanwhile, Amara and her environmental activist group, now Evergreen's allies, launched a counter-campaign. They documented the positive environmental impact of Evergreen Steel and the company's commitment to social responsibility. The online battle raged on, but the tide was turning. News outlets, impressed by Evergreen's transparency and commitment, exposed Brandon's lies. His accusations fell flat, his influence dwindling. Back home, Evergreen continued to innovate. The company's new line of sustainable building materials, a product of the collaboration with the local engineering school, became a huge success. Architects and construction companies were drawn to the eco-friendly materials and Evergreen's reputation for quality. One day, a prestigious award arrived, Steel Company of the Year for Evergreen. Ethan, humbled yet proud, accepted the award on behalf of his entire team. He dedicated it to Professor Sharma, whose unwavering support had been instrumental in their journey, but the celebrations were short-lived. A news report flashed on the TV screen. A major competitor, spurred by Evergreen's success, had announced their own Green Steel initiative. A smile played on Ethan's lips. The competition was fierce, but he welcomed it. Evergreen had become a leader, but the fight for a sustainable future in the steel industry was far from over. Ethan gathered his team, his eyes filled with determination. "This is just the beginning," he declared. "We need to keep pushing the boundaries, innovating, and proving that sustainability is not just the future, it's the only way forward." As the team erupted in cheers, Ethan knew the journey would continue. There would be new challenges, new competitors, but Evergreen, with its commitment to a greener future, was ready to face them all. They had not just revolutionized a company. They had sparked a change within the entire industry, a change that would reverberate for generations to come.